Hello everyone, I'm Anna Rose Campo of BPA-1B, your defender for the Russia-Ukraine war. And the side of Russia, why they've attacked Ukraine. First of all, don't get carried away by the Western media's conclusion. Don't form any conclusion based on media's reporting. This issue is much deeper and it is personal for Russia. It is about securing Russia's national interest. If I have to summarize this issue, it is all about Russia securing and protecting its territory or motherland versus NATO expansion. The reason why Russia attacked Ukraine is because it does not want the United States and NATO installation and weapons, including nuclear weapons, anywhere near the Russian border, whether you agree with Russia or not. It is Vladimir Putin has a reason. If you remember, the United States and NATO did the same thing to the Turkey while attacking Syria. Before 2013, the headquarters of NATO Allied Air Command for Southern Europe was in Izmir, Turkey. The United States gave some 90 B-61, a nuclear bomb, to Turkey, which are also right now there at Incirlik Air Base. These bombs were kept there in case of any conflict. And of course, their use requires approval of NATO. Don't you think Russia is aware of it? In fact, Russia was supporting Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. So today, if United States and NATO forces have eyes on Ukraine, do you think Russia will not do anything about it? If tomorrow American weaponry arrives in Ukraine, Moscow, the capital of Russia, is 35 minutes away from the Ukraine if you want to use Tomahawk rockets. And suppose you want to use hypersonic missiles, Moscow is just 5 minutes away from Ukraine. Russia from day one has been saying to the United States and NATO to stay away and do not interfere in Ukraine. If Russia wanted to attack or invade the eastern part of Ukraine, it would have done it long back. The reason why Russia attacked now is that the United States and European Union countries did not listen to Russia's demand. The United States lives on the other side of ocean. It practically has no threat to its territory from any big country. But if you see the United States goes around everywhere in the world and creates conflict. Do you think that is correct? Russia had a very simple demand. Stay away from Ukraine. That's it. But now, the West had to interfere, even Ukraine joined the bandwagon. And now, Ukraine is all alone. Nobody's coming to help them. All these Western countries are just doing talks, meetings after meetings, giving media interviews, asking the world to pray. So the real problem of this war is the United States. And then few European countries also supported the United States because initially Germany and few other Euro countries were not aggressive towards Russia. But now, European Union and the United States have a joint approach. So you see, it was Ukraine and Russia's matter. They could have solved it diplomatically. But now, the matter has become worse. And it will only stop when Russia gains control of Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine. Because somewhere Russia knows that if today it let go Ukraine, then again tomorrow Ukraine will repeat it and it will go on. Ukraine will do what Russia does not want Ukraine to do. So Russia is thinking to put a break on this matter once and for all. Now I know many of you are also thinking, will America is interfering because Ukraine is democracy and it does not want to be controlled by the Russian dictatorship. Well, first of all, what you have to understand is that Western countries are not the sole custodian of democracy. They have a version of democracy which is called liberal democracy. We've all know that every country has democracy, but they have their own version of democracy. Democracy cannot have a single version, which the United States and European countries constantly preaching to the world. Democracy has different versions. And the next thing is, who told you that Russia has dictatorship? FYI, Russia has its own model of governance. Just because someone's model of governance is different from the United States and European countries, is it right to put a negative label? So, what you have to understand is that Russia has a different model of governance, which is not as the same as the Western model of governance. So, I'm repeating again, Russia attacked Ukraine because Ukraine and the Western countries repeatedly ignored Russia's concern. That would be all. Thank you.